Hello, ladies. Welcome to the show tonight with just me. You're gonna have to deal with just me, but that's all right. So we're gonna go ahead and start. Let's wait for some people to show up first. I see Jessica Seacrest. Hello, how are you? If anyone didn't know, Jessica has a online Etsy shop where she makes culottes. If you want culottes for your kiddos, Jessica, can you go ahead and put the link there to your Etsy shop? Hi, Morgan. Thanks. Yes, it's my birthday today. Hi, Amber. Hi, 94 Frank. I don't know who you are, but Heidi Cummings, I know who you are. Hello. Nice to see you guys here. All right, we're starting to get people on now. I think there's a little bit of a lag, so I wanted to wait a second. But Jessica, yeah, go ahead and put your link to your Etsy shop on there. If any of you guys need culottes for your little girls, I happen to love culottes for my little girls. So I think they're so cute on little girls. I do not wear culottes myself. I like to wear skirts, but I like culottes on little girls. Casey Kaler, which would be Casey, right? Casey Taylor. And then By Faith Alone. Hello, hello, Amanda. Hello, Mrs. Gander. It should be Amanda Gander. Cindy Marie. All of you guys are saying hello tonight. Amber Powers. Jen Beth. I don't know who you are, but hi, guys. Okay, so maybe Jessica will put that link there if she heard me. I'm going to try to keep an eye on Lauren Presley. Hello. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat today as we're going on. So we're talking about makeup. This has been a controversial subject on some Facebook groups. And the funny thing is that most of the time when it gets controversial, I feel like it's the men that have one of the stronger opinions about it. So I think that's kind of funny. And a lot of times it's like single young men. So let me show that link to her Etsy shop. There's her Etsy shop right there. She has some cute patterns on there with cute little culottes. So check that out if you want to. And she makes them for ladies. Yes, but like I said, I don't wear them very often, but they are nice. They're modest. They're like a split skirt, so you can do lots of stuff in them. The ones that I've made before, I kind of like the ones that have like the longer, they're like longer shorts below the knee underneath them. And then they have like a slit on each side. I think actually the First Baptist Church in Hammond sells the pattern for those. So I like to wear those a lot if I have to wear culottes or something. But makeup can be a controversial subject, and I really don't think it needs to be, because there's not much in the Bible about it. And I actually looked up all the verses that have to do with makeup, and there's only a couple that really say anything about painting your face. So the ones that do, of course, you've got the Jezebel, 2 Kings 9:30. And when Jehu was come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and tired her head and looked out at a window, is what that is. And then you've got one in, let's see, Isaiah 31:16. That one's really not. That one really doesn't have anything about painting their face, but it has a lot of things about jewelry and the bonnets, ornaments of the legs, headbands, tablets, earrings, the rings, nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, the wimples, the crisping pins, the glasses, the fine linen, the hoods, and the veils. So it's just talking about how all that stuff's going to be taken away, basically. But that's not really anything about. There was one other verse that talked about painting your face. Oh, where was it? Jeremiah 4:30. And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? Though thou clothest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rentest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee. They will seek thy life. So that's just basically another prophecy where it's telling the Israelites, I believe, I didn't really look at the context of this, where it's telling them that all that stuff's going to be taken away. So that's basically all that there is about painting your face. And a lot of people will talk about how it's bad because Jezebel was the only one in the Bible mentioned painting her face. But I want to talk about kind of the context of that whole chapter, my husband was going through the Kings in Sunday school, and he was talking about how he believes it wasn't necessarily, saying something bad about painting her face. It was basically just listing what she did. And a lot of times when the Bible's talking about something, when it's talking about, like, say, Solomon and all of his wives, it's not necessarily condoning the fact that he had all those wives, but it's basically just listing, it's telling what happened. A lot of it is historical records telling exactly what happened, not saying that God condoned it or God approved of it. So the story of Jezebel is at a time when she painted her face, when it talks about that, it's talking about how her kingdom had just been taken over. Her husband had just been killed, and another king was coming in to take over the palace. And my husband believes it was a sort of rebellion that she did. She was pretending like everything was fine. A lot of times when kingdoms would be taken over, the surviving members of the family would go into mourning. And instead of going into mourning, she went ahead and painted her face and got dressed. And when it says she tired her head, we really didn't know what that meant. And I'm almost wondering if she was just kind of leaning out, like had her head resting on her chin or something, looking out the window. That's kind of what I was thinking maybe she was doing, just kind of nonchalant, like, oh, look at me, I'm just sitting here. So I think in the context of that, she was doing, it was a form of rebellion, that she was just trying to act like nothing was wrong. She didn't want to look tired. She didn't want to look, upset. So she painted her face and tried to pretend like everything was all right. So I don't think that's necessarily condemning makeup. So Candy Cane said, what if Jezebel painted her face to look like a clown, or is it like Egyptian looking? I don't know what that means. Luke and Laura asked if anyone knows how, this is off subject, but anyone know how Mrs. Romero is doing? My family has been praying for her. She's doing well. I'm still in communication with her. Obviously, she's my friend. And they're getting ready to sell their house to move. So trying to sell their house to move. So that's what they're doing right now. So, yep, she's doing well, just working out some stuff in their marriage and trying to get their home life back on track. So she's doing well, though, but keep praying for her. So since the Bible does not say much about makeup, my opinion is where the Bible is silent, we need not to make rules. And there's already, the 10 Commandments that we try to follow. And if you break one of those 10 Commandments, that's sinning. When it comes to makeup, since there is not anything said about makeup in the Bible, it is not sinful to wear makeup. My husband always says, in fact, he's been made fun of for it. If the barn needs painting, paint it. So that's his opinion on it. He's not referring to me as a barn, but it's just a funny saying that the old preachers used to say. And I personally, I feel like wearing makeup is a personal preference. It has to do with, it's not. Now, I do think that there is a line between, you can be immodest. There is a modesty issue. In fact, 1 Timothy 2:9 says, in like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broided hair or gold or pearls or costly array. So, if you are crossing the line of being outlandish with your makeup, when I'm talking about, bright colors that aren't natural looking, maybe oranges or, just bright, gaudy colors that are drawing attention to your face. It's not exactly shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broided hair. And the broided hair is another thing. The broided hair has been a controversial thing too, because I guess there's actually people, I don't know if you ladies have heard of this, there's actual people saying that to braid your hair is a sin. Has anyone heard this? I'm wondering if you've heard this. I do not believe that. One of my friends, Kimmy Gessler, she's tried to point out, if this verse meant you can never have braided hair. It says, in like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broided hair or gold or pearls or costly array. Okay, Amber Power says she's heard of it. And then we have a rolling an eye emoji. Amber Hunt said yes. Dorothy Goss, yes. You have to also look at historical significance. Back in this time when this was written, there was Romans, and the Romans had a practice, the Roman women did, of braiding their hair in elaborate styles. If you just look it up, hairstyles in the Roman era, and the women had huge outlandish braids, and they would weave pearls and jewels and things throughout all the braids and things. So it was a huge thing, and it was like over the top, as Candy Cane said, over the top makeup. It was over the top hairstyle. And I believe in the context of that is what he is talking about. He's telling the Christian women that they needed to be different than the regular, Roman women that were doing these outlandish hairstyles and costly array, putting on airs, things like that. I guess if you just Google, you can Google braided hairstyles, and there are very pretty feminine type of hairstyles, and then there's also the type that's just crazy outlandish, and that would be obviously immodest. So there's always a line between modest and immodest, and you just have to be careful what line that is. Personally, like for me, I wear I have some of the stuff I have this, it's called My Minerals. If you look it up on Facebook, it's called My Minerals with Kristen Graves is where I ordered my stuff. And it's mineral makeup. It's non-toxic. It doesn't have any of the bad stuff in it. And it's very, very affordable. So I don't know if you can see it, but this is My Minerals. And this is the finishing powder. And then you've got I have the blush right here. And if you actually get a hold of the lady, My Minerals with Kristen Graves, if you actually get a hold of the lady, she will send you a bunch of samples and you can try it out. So I use very natural colors. I try to go as natural as possible. You want to go as natural as possible to your skin tone. And so that's why I wanted to try out. So this is the foundation. This is the finishing powder. And then even for the, I do wear some eyeshadow. They're very light, natural colors like that. So for me personally, I wear some eyeliner, but I don't like the wings. I don't know if you guys have seen the wings. I feel like wings are a little, that's not, it's a little over the top. So that's kind of crossing the line for, immodest, drawing a lot of attention to myself. And then this is the eyeliner. And then it also, I can do some on my brows. So I basically just wear the foundation and then the eyeliner and then the brows and then some eyeshadow, just a little bit. So I try to keep it as natural, close to natural looking, but just enough to cover up the tiredness of being a new mom and things like that. So microblading, I don't really know. Is that with the eyebrows? I think microblading is with the eyebrows. Is that like, I don't really know what that is exactly. My funny story about my eyebrows, back when I was as a teenager, it was in the 90s, and the really thin eyebrows were in. So I like plucked and plucked and plucked and had super, super thin eyebrows. And these are not very thick, but they've actually grown out a ton. But my eyebrows now, they won't grow. So this is me not plucking them or waxing them or anything for months. They're really thin now. And I think just because I used to have really thick eyebrows growing up, but I think just because I plucked them so much as a teenager, it just kind of stayed that way and it stopped growing. So now I want them to grow more, and they won't grow. So, and then I do use a little bit of concealer under my eyes. Microblading is like a temporary tattoo. My friend doesn't and has to go in every few months. If it has anything to do with like a tattoo-ish type thing, I wouldn't do it personally. I wouldn't do anything that had to do. Is it actual ink? It's cutting little lines in your brows. Then they rub ink in them, so it's a tattoo pretty well, but it's not permanent. It's cutting little slices in the skin. It's actually cutting the slices in the skin. That sounds very painful. And it's applying pigment to enhance the eyebrow shape. Yeah, for me, that would not be an option. I'm just going to keep on trying to grow mine out, I guess. And then what do I think about teenagers wearing makeup? I think it's fine in moderation. My daughter, actually, she's 14 and she wears makeup, but she wears, basically what she wears is foundation, a little bit of blush, and mascara. It's basically all she wears. Funny, when I got married, my mom, I still remember when I was 16 years old, she allowed me to finally get blush. So before then, I was only wearing a little bit of foundation, and that was only because I had really bad acne as a teenager, and I guess she took pity on me. So she let me wear foundation. And when I was 16, she gave me my first thing of blush. And I believe from 16 until I was 20, when I got married, I was only allowed to wear foundation, blush, and mascara. And so on my wedding day, the only thing I was wearing was foundation, blush, and mascara. I don't even think I wore a lipstick. I think I just put chapstick on or something. So once I got married, I started doing a little more with the eyes and things. So when did I allow her to start wearing makeup? I believe 13 was when I started. Just recently, though, the last few months is when she's been wearing mascara and things. Are low profile false lashes okay? I don't have a lot of lashes and I look sickly without mascara. I've never tried false lashes. I guess as long as they're not like super crazy, as long as they're just helping your eyelashes out okay. I don't know. I've never used them ever. So permanent makeup, no, I would not do permanent makeup. I've seen things with women that do the permanent eyebrows and it's like their skin droops or something. So then it's like really low or it's really high, it gets messed up or something. So I would not do that. All of us women who grew up in the 90s did that to our brows. My teen daughter can't believe it given the current trend for bold brows. Yep, I did it. I have pictures, super, super teeny tiny for years after even I got married. So I agree with what you're saying. I wear makeup and have my hair highlighted, but not garish or clownish, as natural looking as possible. And you look great. Well, thanks. And then castor oil will make eyebrows grow. Well, I took castor oil with my pregnancy, so I actually have some at the house. So maybe I should try that. I don't know that stuff grosses me out. Even the smell grosses me out. So, so yeah, my mom let us start wearing foundation once we started breaking out. Yeah. And my daughter's lucky because she doesn't really get pimples that badly. But I had them pretty bad when I was a teenager. So I definitely think it's a personal preference as far as makeup. And then even with braids, most of the people saying the thing about braids are single guys, once again, that are kind of punks. At least that's what I found out in most of the forums. They tend to be single young guys that are punks. They don't believe in braids. And I really think a lot of that's straining at gnats. And I feel like it's making up commandments of men. It's men making up commandments. Like I said, there's already 10 commandments in the Bible and a whole lot more, the lesser things. The Bible talks about teaching people to observe the lesser, even the least of the commandments. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that the Bible specifically says is sin if you do it or is sin if you don't do it. So I don't think we need to be adding things I have like kids crawling all over. I told them to stay out of the camera and they're just like crawling to get places. My son is crawling by me right now to get past me without being seen. So if you hear a weird noise, that's my son crawling by. Weirdo. Oh my goodness. I have another kid sitting over there on the first waiting to go by me. She looks like a ragamuffin right now. I'm in the kitchen tonight, so I'm kind of in the central hub of the house. So yeah, I think that you're making up things. You're making up commandments when there's already things specifically that you're supposed to do and not supposed to do. And I feel like you're straining at gnats. And you have to be careful because I've known many people, even raising their kids, where the mom won't let the daughter shave until she's like 16, and it causes a lot of friction and it causes a lot of fights. And, she won't let her wear fingernail polish until she's, 18 or whatever. And I feel like there's a lot bigger battles to fight, I guess. And I've never been picky when it came to things like fingernail polish. I am a girly girl. So from the time I was little, I always loved, you know, pretty things, pretty frilly things, and wearing fingernail polish. And I like to wear earrings. I like to wear jewelry. I like to, you know,
Did it work? Close that.
am I on now? Let me see. Let me see. Lost her. Okay. Must be Bill. Am I on right now? Am I live?
It says you've gone.
Am I back? Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm back. Okay, you know what happened? You know, one of those kids that was crawling around the floor? Yeah, she went around the back side of the table where it's plugged in and she unplugged it. So someone was saying it must be Bill. Bill would be pretty good if he was able to come in and disconnect. Oh, so now that one that did that is downstairs crying because she's all traumatized. I hope it traumatized her. I told her to stay out of the kitchen. So, of course, that would be the 4-year-old. So, okay, what was I talking about? I can't even remember. Someone said, I thought that would happen. I didn't think of the fact that she would unplug it, but yeah, she was going right around the table over here where it's plugged in. So she unplugged it. But yeah, is there any more thoughts? Let me see what you guys are putting in the chat. Luckily, this is on a Mac and it restored all the pages. So then I went right back to the broadcast. So Vanessa, you lost me right when you posted a comment. One of the kiddos must have pulled a plug crawling around. Very smart, J&J Family Vlogs. You must have kids. So someone said we let our girls shave. Kimmy said we let our girls shave when they ask. It's when they realize, they end up realizing on their own how much work it is. That is true. I had a daughter, not my oldest daughter, my second daughter. She begged and begged and begged me to start shaving. And I finally let her. She'll be 12. I think, was she 11 when I let her? Finally let her start shaving. And now I think she goes probably days and weeks without shaving. So she realized how much work it is. But I remember when I was growing up, I grew up in a pretty strict household. And I'm not slamming my mom. She, you know, she raised us the best that she knew how. But she often, with things like shaving, I had to beg and beg and beg. And then like even the makeup, things like makeup, I had to beg and beg and beg. So for me, those are very secondary issues. So when it comes to raising kids, that's what I was talking about. When it comes to raising kids, you have to be careful because there's a lot bigger battles. Our kids are going to face a lot in the world when it comes to sinning and raising them right. And, you know, I would rather make a big deal out of getting to the marriage altar pure than whether or not they wear nail polish. So, you know, you have to be careful with what battles you pick and how you train your children, things like that. And for me, it's always been a secondary issue. The makeup, the nail polish, things like that. Someone said, what are your thoughts on hair dye? I miss my reddish blonde hair that suddenly turned dull and mousy brown as soon as I hit my 30s. For me, I don't dye my hair, mainly just because it's my husband's preference. And that's another thing I was going to say. You know, a lot of this goes off what your husband thinks. Okay. I know some wives, and I'm not down on women that don't wear makeup. That, like I said, it's a personal preference, it's a personal choice, and it's what your husband likes. Since the time that my husband knew me, I've worn makeup, I've worn foundation, blush, and mascara. And so since the time he's known me, I've worn it. And so that's what he's used to. And he prefers it. And I prefer it because I feel better about myself. I don't feel as tired when I have, a little bit of concealer on and things and stuff to brighten up my face. So for me, I prefer it. My husband prefers it. But if your husband really likes the natural look, he just likes it when you slap some lotion on and you go barefaced, that's fine. I'm not down on women who don't wear makeup. Like I said, it's not a sin to wear makeup, and it's not a sin not to wear makeup, because the Bible is silent on the issue. But the Bible does say to, respect your husband and honor his wishes. So if your husband is like, every time I go to kiss you, I get a mouthful of foundation and I don't like it, could you lay off the foundation? Don't be like, it's my body, it's my face, I'm going to wear it. Just listen to him. Don't wear the foundation if he doesn't like it. If he doesn't care, then don't. For me, like I know a lot of women like lipstick. I'm not a big lipstick person. I feel like I don't like the way it makes my lips feel. It gets all over the glasses. My sister does sell this stuff. It's probably really bad for you. I'm trying to think if I have it in my purse right here. It's like a lip stain. And I don't mind that, just because it stays on a long time. Okay, here's the lip sense. Here's the gloss. So put like a lip stain on, and then you put the gloss over it. And I don't mind that because it doesn't come off on all my cups. I hate it when it gets on all my cups and when you're just trying to drink something. So that's lip sense. But I think that's probably like a lot of chemicals and stuff in it. But I don't wear it very often because I don't know. I'm just not a big lipstick person. So I pretty much try to just stay to the chapstick or a light gloss. And that's just personal preference too. But yeah, as far as the hair dye, my husband does not want me to dye my hair. So I don't do it. I'm getting a lot of gray. I don't even know if you can see some. There's some right there. See that? Oh, I can see them. I just turned 38 today. So getting close to 40. I'm getting some gray, but he's always like, just age gracefully. Just age gracefully. So I'm trying to age gracefully. So let's look at some of the comments. Morgan says, I grow a winter coat every winter. That's another thing that's a preference. But for me, I'm big on, I shave my legs all the time. I don't like feeling like I have a winter coat. So beautiful beloved said, everything you do unto the Lord, nail polish or no nail polish, as long as it's to bring glory to the Lord. We should have a pure heart to why we do what we do. We represent the Lord. And that's another thing. I feel like when I do make the attempt to, get dressed every day into a nice shirt, a nice skirt or something, and, brush my hair, do my hair, style my hair, and put on makeup, I feel better about myself. And then too, when I go out in public, I feel like it's a better testimony. I have a lot of children, and that already draws a lot of attention. And when I'm out in public, and let's say I didn't make the attempt to get ready, I feel like that's a bad testimony, because then I feel like I look, tired and overwhelmed and just sloppily put together. If I don't style my hair or dress nicely, I do feel sloppy. And I try never to wear like t-shirts even out in public. That's just a personal preference. Once again, I try to wear something nicer. I try to put on jewelry. I try to, do myself up a little bit. And I've also found that when you make the attempt to make yourself, look better, it reflects on how you feel. When I just stay at home and I wear just an athletic skirt and maybe just a t-shirt. Now I did that a lot the last 2 weeks because I was recuperating from childbirth. but that's about the only times I do it when I'm recuperating from something. And I feel like I'm recuperating, but when I actually put on something nice and take the time to do my makeup and take the time to do my hair, I feel better about myself. I feel like that gives you more confidence. And I also feel like people, when they see you with all your children, they're not going to instantly think, wow, that mom is way overworked. She's overtired. What is she thinking, having all these kids? It's kind of a good testimony when people see, a mom that's put together out in public with a lot of children. So, let's see. I want to be as natural as I can, but sometimes I think about dyeing my hair. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with it, especially if you're going to do it, in your natural color. Another funny thing, when I was a teenager, I used Sun-In, and it was horrible. I had horrible results. I have some pictures from when I'm a teenager. It turned my hair orange, and I had really, really long curly hair. I have natural curly hair. I straighten it most of the time, and it turned my hair orange. And so finally, once it started all growing out, I dyed it for a little while. This was before I met my husband or anything. I was probably 16, 17, something like that. And I dyed it back to its natural color for a long time until all the roots were out. And I never did that again. Don't ever use Sun-In. If anyone ever wants to use Sun-In, tell them no. It's horrible. Sun-In is horrible, very, very orange. I saw some that worked. Like my sister, I think she might have used it, and she's a blonde though. And hers looked fine. Like her hair looked fine. But I think because mine's so dark, it just instantly turned it orange. Oh, don't ever use it. Jackie Turner says, I loved Sun-In. What's Sun-In? Wendy Polanco asked. You weren't born in the 90s, obviously. Sun-In is a spray. You spray it in your hair, and then you go out in the sun, basically. And the sun turns it a different color. But for me, I can't remember, is it supposed to turn it blonde? For me, it turned it orange. It was so bad. It was so bad. And Jackie Turner said, but I was light. I think when you have lighter hair, it's fine. I think with my sister, it turned it more blonde. And so she looked fine. But with me, being the brunette, it was not good. It was not good at all. So I know of people that have used peroxide to lighten up their hair. Yep. Casey just said peroxide. And that's fine. I think as long as you're blonde, once again, not with me, it would be bad in my hair. So yeah, I would not use peroxide. And so now I'm just staying away from the dye. My mom always said growing up, and I agree with this, that God gives you the color that you look best in. He gives you the color of skin that you look best in. He gives you the color of eyes and the color of hair that you look best in. And I do agree with that. I like the color of my hair. Now, I don't like all the gray, but I like the color of my hair. And I do believe that God gives you the color you look best in. So I necessarily don't think it's, now some of the dyes, there's this thing going around. Has anyone seen, lots of women do it. They use the crazy, crazy colors, like bright pink. Their whole head will be bright pink or bright green or something like that. And I think that once again is on the verge of being immodest. You're drawing a lot of attention to yourself. When you're out and about and you have this bright pink, flaming pink hair or whatever, you're drawing a lot of attention to yourself. So I think dye is fine as long as it is in, more of your natural coloring. So I'm trying to think if I have covered everything I wanted to. I wanted to go over the biblical context of makeup, which there is not much. So don't declare something a sin that the Bible is silent on. And we already have a lot of things that are sins and things that aren't sins. So don't be adding. There's a verse that talks about the commandments of men and men adding things. And who else did that was the Pharisees. The Pharisees, like, they added so much to all these laws that the Jews were supposed to follow. I mean, they added so much, and they would expect men to keep every single little thing. If you start doing that, then your life is just going to kind of be miserable. So the pink hair is horrendous. I agree. Amanda said, I dyed my hair every color of the rainbow as a teenager. I want to see some of that. I want to see a picture of that on Facebook, actually, Amanda. And then you look like a feminist at that point. I think more of the feminists are doing like the shaved hair. Have you guys seen it? There's one hairstyle in particular where they like shave half their head and then like half of their hair is grown out. It's horrible. I was actually in a beauty parlor one time, and there was a mom that was probably in her 40s or 50s. She was sitting there, and her teenage daughter was there. And she was looking through a book, and it had that hairstyle where half of it was shaved and half of it wasn't. And she told her daughter, I'm going to get this hairstyle. And if you know me, I'm kind of bold. And I was sitting there, and this is that hairstyle is like one of my pet peeves. And I looked at the lady and I said, please don't get that hairstyle. That hairstyle is awful. And she was not very happy that I spoke up. I don't know. I left before she got her haircut, so I don't know if she ever got that hairstyle. But ladies, please don't get that hairstyle. It's not attractive. It's not cute. It's not pretty. You know, the Lord made us. He made us as the females. He made us to be the more attractive of the sexes. And he wants us to be feminine. And and for me, I like being feminine. I like feeling pretty. And I believe when you're going out of your way to do ugly hairstyles like that, where you shave half your head and then you leave the other half, I feel like that's just a slap in the face of everything that us as women are supposed to be. So please don't get that hairstyle. So does the makeup you use dry your skin? No, but it's because I use a really, really thick moisturizer. In the winter, Illinois winters are horrible. And pray for us this week because we're supposed to get down to like -35 by Thursday. And that's without the windshield. So -35 without the windshield. So they're actually canceling schools here. All the public schools and the college just canceled Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's supposed to be record lows like in 50 years or something. And it's only happened a few times that they know of in recorded history of how low it's supposed to be. So and I live in a house with only electric heat. So because of that, I have very dry skin. So I use a humidifier at night. And then I also use a very, very thick cream on my face. Have any of you ever heard of I think it's like Eucerin. It's EUCERIN, that type of moisturizer. I have to use that in the winter. So it's a very, very thick, but I have very dry skin. Anyways, so it's a very, very thick, go that way. Don't go back behind the table. It's a very thick moisturizer. And so then by the time I use that, the powder actually kind of soaks it up a little bit. So no, but I guess it depends on your type of skin and what type of moisturizer you're using. So I use a really, really thick moisturizer that I have to winter. So the Amber Power says it's 65. That helps. In San Diego right now, I don't miss those winters. And then snowing here in Northwest England. The brand, Wendy, is My Minerals. I think if that's what you're talking about with the makeup. It's My Minerals by Kristen Graves. Look her up on Facebook. And if you get a hold of her, she will send you samples that you can try out. And that's how I did it. And she sent me quite a bit of samples. That samples actually lasted for like a month. So. And I use coconut oil as moisturizer. Jessica said, yes, I have used coconut oil as well. I feel like the coconut oil rubs off really fast. It rubs off really quickly because I'll even put it on my lips. But then 5 minutes later, I feel like it's already soaked into my skin. And the Eucerin cream or Eucerin or however you say it, Eucerin cream, I feel like that really just stays, it locks in the moisture for most of the day. So it's probably not the greatest. Actually, since I got pregnant and had the baby, I still get breakouts. I still deal with pimples and things, but about the second trimester into my pregnancy, my skin cleared up. And it's still pretty clear, so I'm just waiting for the breakouts to start up again. But most of the time when I'm pregnant, my hormones kind of level out and my skin clears up. So that's really nice. Joe Wilson said, I have prescribed moisturizer as my skin is very dry. Foundation helps though too. I am also part of, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's called Ipsy. And Ipsy is, you get this cute little bag like every month. It's only $10 a month. And this was the one from January. You get this cute little bag. And it comes with like at least 4 or 5 different samples. Like this is, and a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are organic. And a lot of them are all natural. This is Amazonian clay, 12-hour full coverage foundation. And sometimes I'll put little dots of this under the powder foundation. And so you get little samples like this. And sometimes I'll even send you full things of it. And it's only $10 a month. You go on there when you first go on there and you fill out a profile and you tell them what exactly you like. And then they send you different things. It's just kind of fun. It's fun getting stuff in the mail every month with little samples that you don't know what you're going to get. So that's Ipsy, IPSY. So Shannon Johnson said plain shea butter isn't, or is it shea? Is it shea butter? Plain shea butter? Shea butter is an awesome moisturizer, very thick. And I actually have some of that right now from Amanda Armstrong that she sent me. And she had sent me a little goodie bag and the shea butter was in it. So someone said my daughter gets that Ipsy stuff. It's fun. It is fun. It's only $10 a month and you get a lot of fun stuff. Amber said it's 63 in Austin. I don't want to hear about your warm weather. That's not helpful to me or comforting to me when we're going through this. We actually went out today. The roads were drifting horribly, but I really wanted to get out for my birthday. So we got out today and the snow was drifting pretty badly. So anyone else ever try the makeup with the airbrush guns? I've never tried that. Horrible stuff. Never worked well for me, at least. Not sure if this was brought up or not. No, we did not bring that up. Airbrush guns? Is that kind of like getting an airbrush tan? I've heard of that. I've never tried that either, but I've never tried the airbrush makeup. So does anyone else have any questions? We actually went a little longer, partly because we were interrupted because I was disconnected. So that whole time, was it just like a little picture of the Gently Led sisters? Is that what you guys saw? That must have been what you saw the whole time I was off. Jessica, where do you live? I can't remember where you live. Yep, but they saw the little picture of me, or a little picture of the Gently Led thing. Well, I'm glad you guys hung around and waited for me to get back on. It's an airbrush for foundation and blush. Yeah, I've never tried the airbrush. Now, is that something you do yourself, like every day? I would think that that would be too big of a pain. So I can't imagine myself doing that. So you live just in North Carolina? Mount Airy, North Carolina? No, don't leave, Amber. So I think I went over everything. I went over, is it biblical? Obviously, it's not really stated. So there's nothing non-biblical about it, and there's nothing biblical about it. It's just personal preference. It's what your husband likes. Don't let people make you feel bad for wearing it. It's not bad to look attractive. It's not bad to look feminine. It's not bad not to wear makeup. So if you don't wear makeup, don't let people make you feel bad for not wearing it. So it just comes down to personal preference, basically. So that is what I believe about it. Obviously, other people have differing opinions about it, but that's just my opinion. So next week, we have a special guest. I have not even said who it is. I'm going to now. But many of you know from the online world, you know Kimmy Gessler. And I've gotten to know her. I have met her in person. So she's not just a Facebook friend. I've met her in person at the Red Hot Preaching Conference. Many of you know her from online things, from Facebook, from her, her Dollar Tree thing that she does on Instagram. And she will be my special guest next Monday. And we will be talking about when pregnancy does not end the way that you want it to. So we're going to talk about infertility, about loss, pregnancy loss. And she's had many, many miscarriages. I'm not sure of exactly how many, but I know it's 10 to 12, maybe more, something in there. So we're going to have her on and we're going to be talking about it. I know this topic is very near and dear to many of you because I get the emails. I've gotten lots and lots of emails from you. And most of the emails, I would say 75% of the emails that I get, it's asking us to pray for them, for you, because you cannot conceive, or you have conceived and you miscarry. So I know it's a very near and dear topic to you guys. So we're going to talk about that. Just some, basic things about maybe things that can help out if you're having hormonal problems, maybe, things to do if you're going through a miscarriage, things for people, things that your friends can help you with. So if you know someone that's going through a miscarriage, go ahead and tune in, because we'll be talking to you too, and the different things that different ways you can help out, things to say to someone that is going through a miscarriage, things not to say. There's a lot of people out there that are just clueless when it comes to helping out someone that's going through a miscarriage, and they unintentionally say hurtful things. So we're going to be going through that too. So be excited for that. I'll be making up an announcement and putting it on the Facebook. So go ahead and share that. It helps when you guys share the post, because then more people see it, obviously. Duh. So go ahead and share them. And thank you all for sticking around. I'm glad. Many of you, I got many encouraging emails. I could see you, Jason, in the mirror. I got many encouraging emails from people talking that were sent to Leslie, telling her that they were praying for her. I've gotten lots of encouraging emails from you all saying, keep up with the show, that it's helped. So I don't feel like I'm much help. I'm not someone super special. I'm just someone that Leslie recruited to do the show with. And now I'm going to try to keep it going, because I do. The emails are very encouraging, and I know I'm rambling now, but the emails are very encouraging, and you guys are very encouraging. You mean a lot to me. And like I said, I'm not anyone special, but I have been saved for quite a few years. And I do believe that in the Bible, when it talks about, it's older women, I don't feel like an older woman, but I am 38 now, I guess, older women teaching the younger women. I believe that there is a real dearth of that in our society that's not being done anymore. So if this channel can help out in any way with that, then it makes me happy. So, Jessica, did you want me to put the link to my Etsy shop in the video comments? Yes, go ahead and please do that. Check out her Etsy shop if you need culottes for your little girls. She sews them. She does a good job sewing them. So, great. We love Mrs. Romero and pray for her family. Yes. Keep praying for her. She's doing well considering. But yeah, keep praying for her. It was fun. It was fun talking to you all tonight. I really tried to keep an eye on the chat. If I missed something that you guys said, sorry, it was not intentional. So I tried to keep up with the chat. Sometimes I got too much. I was talking too much. I had to keep an eye on it. Thanks, Shannon. We'll have Shannon on here again soon. I'm going to try to rotate the guests. So like I said, you don't have to be a pastor's wife to come on. Okay. Kimmy's not a pastor's wife. I want people to come on that have experience and know something about what they're talking about. Okay. So, if you have some helpful information for someone and you want to be a help, then, that was like Mrs. Holly Robinson last week. She had reached out to me and she said, we need to do a show on this. Can we do a show on this? Because that was something that was special to her, with the sleep tips. And she felt like she had information. She had a lot of information about it. So if you have information about a certain subject and you want to be on the show, then, let me know. So anyways, I am going to sign off. So thanks for all your comments. Thanks for your emails. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.